Now, the starting salary for police constables in England and Wales could be cut by £4,000. The Police Arbitration Tribunals agreed that salaries for new officers should start at £19,000 a year. It's one of a number of proposals put forward by the Chief Inspector of Constabulary. Tom Windsor, that was Tom Windsor when he reviewed the police pay and conditions. It's now up to the government to make a final decision. So we're just asking tonight, is 19 grand a good salary for someone starting out in their police career, or not a good enough salary, perhaps when you consider that they may be asked to put their lives on the line? 0500 909 693, texters 85058. Mike Pannett is an author and former police officer. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, Tony.
And Tony Travers is here, an expert on the government from the London School of Economics. Hello, Tony.
Evening.
Mike, how will this go down with the police, you think?
Well, I can tell you it's not going down very well at all, Tony. I think it's not just people looking to join the police, but it's actually those officers that are serving are very concerned now, because it's all about the type of person that the police are looking to attract, and not only attract, but retain. And I think that's the key. You know, it always used to be a vocation joining the police, but it's more likely to become just a job. And, you know, to me, the amount of training and time it takes to get great experience in the police, it's going to be false economy, because how many are going to actually going to want to stay? Especially now with the change in the pensions, where they're actually working 35 years for the pension and right through till they're 60. It's absolutely, it's ludicrous.
Well, yeah, working 35 years for a pension is probably still shorter than most people listening to this, though, Mike. There are some benefits from being in the police force, aren't there? Tony Travers, can you understand why this is being recommended?
Well, it's part of a wider attempt to lower the costs of delivering public services. Now, clearly this would be starting with new police officers. It doesn't affect those who are currently in post, as I understand it. And what we've got here is a part of a longer-term policy by the government to bring down the costs of delivering public services. And this is another example of that policy.
Yeah, Mike, there is a general perception, isn't there, amongst those not in the police force, that officers get a good deal in overtime. They do get eventually a good pension at an earlier age than most. So starting at £19,000, knowing what's to come, isn't too bad a position.
Well, just going back to what your final little question to me, Tony, I didn't get a chance to answer, was you mentioned about shift work. Well, let me just tell you, after 30 years shift work, working 24/7, the average life expectancy just a few years ago was about 5 years. There's been no research into doing 35 years on shift and working till 60 with the stresses and strains that the police deal with day in, day out. But look, the public don't want to see robotic police officers, those police officers who come along and potentially just tick the box and move on. What they want is some people with compassion, and they want people who have got a bit of experience of life. And what worries me, you know, bringing people in when they're actually the take-home pay, when you look at the soon-to-be 14.2% pension contributions, their actual take-home pay will be about £1,150.
How does a starting salary of £19,000 affect your level of compassion?
Well, I'll tell you what it does. It's not about compassion, it's about the type of person that the police are hoping to attract. Now, not only that, they've actually turned around and said now under Windsor is that, and this would have ruled me out from joining the police, because I didn't leave school you know, with many qualifications as such. I was far too interested in motorbikes and girls, but now they're saying you've got to have a minimum of 3 A-levels and a degree. Now, fine, you go to university, but really, how many people are going to think, well, I've spent all this money going through university, am I actually going to want to join the police, who are only going to pay me £19,000, which is actually going to be less than a police and community support officers get?
Tony Travers, Mike has a point.
Well, far be it from me to defend what may or may not become the government's policy, but I think I'm trying to make the point that there's a squeeze across the board on public sector pay and conditions, and as I said before, this is an element in that picture which, you know, is not unique. This particular change may be unique to the police, but similar things are going on across the public sector and will do for some years to come. I mean, it's interesting, this would affect new entrants. I mean, it would be a considerably more difficult thing, I would have thought, to apply any policy like this to existing police officers or indeed other kinds of public sector workers.
And Mike, that's a good point, isn't it? This is easier to take on board, easier to digest, as Tony's just said, than affecting serving officers. This is people coming in with their eyes wide open. They know exactly what they're going to get if it's brought in.
Well, eyes wide open might be one thing, but let me tell you now, and the public know this, and the public are starting to realise through listening to police officers on social media who have been very well engaging and letting them know exactly what they do. Policing is an absolute unique role. It's not an easy job. People are coming, when they call 999 in a crisis, it's because something traumatic's happened in their life, whether that's violence, whether that's death, and cops are going out there dealing with death on the roads, drugs problems, mental health issues, the most traumatic incidents that you could possibly bear to think about day in, day out.
All right.
So it's not just as simple as that. This is not just as simple as saying, well, it's just any other job, which it's not. We want the best people, and we want to be able to retain them.
Mike and Tony, thank you very much indeed.